Oh, howdy folks. Welcome back to Duke Frazier Productions. Today's video is all about pocket pistols, gambler's best friend. But let me finish this hand of poker here and then we'll get started.
Bet 20.
I'll call.
$20, huh? Yeah, I'll call that. Read 'em wheat, boys. 4 queens.
Wait a minute. I got 4 queens.
So do I.
Well, how did that happen?
Oh boy, a gunfight.
Ah, crap. What do I wouldn't give for a 45? All right, folks, so before we get started, I want to take a minute and thank Santee and Bill Brazelton from the Arizona Ghostwriters and Dustin Weiniger from the Dustin Weiniger channel here on YouTube for appearing in this video. This was a lot of fun to put together, guys, so hopefully we can get some more videos, do some more videos together in the future. So the topic of today's video is, as we said, pocket pistols. Now, pocket pistols are not a new concept by any means. Nowadays, you can go to the gun store. They've got a variety of pocket pistols that you can buy. A lot of them semi-auto, made by various markets, and a lot of them are designed for concealed carry. They're small framed, easily fit in a pocket. And back in the day, they were a concern back then as well. Hence why you had pocket pistols back in the day. Now this right here is the 49 pocket pistol. This was produced by Colt, and this was actually after he got started again in 47, this was his second pocket pistol to be released. The first one was very similar. It's very similar in size, in fact, but it did not have the loading lever attached. It had a square back trigger guard, and it had the round cylinder stops instead of the squares. And the way you would load it is you'd take the cylinder off of the gun, and you'd actually use the base pin to push the bullet down into the chamber. Because the design of these were, you fire your 5 shots and you better be done, or, getting somewhere else. It wasn't one to be reloaded quickly in the middle of a gunfight. So Colt had also got into the pocket pistols prior in his first run in the Pattersons. So he had various size Pattersons in the early days. Sometimes they're referred to as a baby Patterson now. But he wasn't the only one producing pocket pistols. If you look through, there's pocket pistols clear back to the flintlock days. And I'm going to throw a few of them here on the screen here. But one you would see be single barrel flintlock. Also, you'd see them in cap lock versions as well. Sometimes they're referred to as box lock pistols, but they're small little pocket pistols. Are also referred to as muff guns. And the idea was you could conceal them and carry them on your person for personal defense. And these are also have been referred to as house guns. Because you could stick this on your nightstand, in a drawer on your nightstand, drawer in your desk, so on and so forth, and it was easily concealed. So stopping power wasn't that great with these pocket pistols back in the day. This little gun here is a 31 caliber, and it doesn't have a whole lot of energy. It's not nearly as potent as some of its bigger counterparts of the time period. This was more of a deterrent, the fact that somebody is holding a gun to try to deter somebody from committing a crime against them if it's used in self-defense. But despite that, their concealability made them very popular. In fact, this model right here was Samuel Colt's most popular model, with over 300,000 units produced from its introduction in 1849 until the stopping of the production in 1873 when the Single Action Army came out. Now, as I said, the 49 was not the only pistol that was released by Samuel Colt. Once he got started going again in 47, he released, as I said, the Baby Dragoon, what's known as the Baby Dragoon, the 48 pocket model. He redesigned that to the 49. And then right around 1850, he altered the 49 once again and kind of went backwards in his development. And he released what is commonly and erroneously referred to as the Wells Fargo model. So this is a 49 pocket model, essentially without the loading lever. Now, I've heard it said that these are called Wells Fargo models because of the fact that Wells Fargo bought a lot of these and had their agents carrying them. I've done a lot of research on this topic. I've looked on several books, and all of them agree that Wells Fargo has no documentation of ever buying the 49 pocket models in any great amount, and there are no surviving pocket models that are marked Wells Fargo. Not that has been seen in my research or the research of those that I've read on in the books. So what this is actually is referred to in a lot of the history books is the 50, I'm going to mess this up because I can't remember the number, it's the 51 new model police. Now, that gets a little bit confusing because, as we're going to get to here very soon, there's another revolver referred to as a police revolver. But these were actually, in all places I read, these were actually police models with the idea of them being carried by police forces. And they don't have a loading lever on them because the idea is you load this at the station, you got 5 shots, you better make them count. Because, as I said earlier, you got to take this thing apart, just like with the Patterson. You got to take this thing apart and you got to load the cylinder off of the gun. However, the thing that you use to load it with is the arbor, the base pin. Now, in the 1860s, early 1860s, it's often referred to as 62, although these next batch of pocket pistols from Colt were released prior to 62. Colt had beefed up the 49 pocket model, and he had 2 different versions of it, and both of them are 36 caliber. So these would have much more stopping power. So this one right here is what's known as the 62 Pocket Police. So it has the new line style of barrel. You have a rounded barrel, contoured with a creeping loading lever. And then this one has the fluted cylinder, and they're only half flutes, they're not full flutes. And this is belted up to accept the 36 caliber round. At about the same time this one came out, you have what's known as the 62 Pocket Navy, which is basically just this gun, almost identical to this gun, beefed up to 36. So you still retain the octagonal barrel, the old hinge style loading lever, and just a beefed up cylinder to 36 caliber. That was about the last one that Colt produced. Well, those were the last ones that Colt produced with the black powder cap and ball design. Now, you get later on into the cartridge era, Colt did have various pocket pistols, but pocket pistols kind of explode in the cartridge era, and there are all kinds of them that I probably wouldn't have enough time here in this short video to describe. Also, in the 1860s, Remington got in on the pocket pistols. They were another common one. They made a very small 31 caliber gun that looks almost identical to the 1863 new model Army. However, they did not have a trigger guard on them. They had just a little spur trigger. So you also, in the black powder era, so about Colt's time, you get what's known as Derringer pistols, which are big barreled single shot pistols. The name Derringer is so closely associated with that style that a lot of pistols took on that name later on. You had the pepper box revolvers. Now they started coming out about the time that Colt was introducing the Patterson revolver, and what they were, instead of a gun with a single barrel and a chamber, or a cylinder with multiple chambers, they were just a big long cylinder with 5, 6, sometimes 7 and 8 chambers in it. I remember seeing a picture of one that had like 18 of them. It was a huge gun, not really a pocket gun though. And they ranged in a variety of calibers, 28 up to 36. So even today, in today's world, we still have pocket guns, as I've said. And the style of this right here, this is what's commonly referred to as a Saturday Night Special. But this is just a small little semi-automatic. This one is a 25 auto, holds 7 rounds. And let me check and make sure it's clear. I know it's empty, but we'll just show you folks so you don't get worried here. But you notice the real small size of the frame. It's not very wide, and overall it's fairly small. It'll be covered up by the palm of my hand. And this is for carrying in your pocket. This one actually belongs to my uncle. Now, nowadays, pocket guns are much smaller, much more concealable than they were back in the day. But this, back in the day, pockets were a little bit bigger, so this was easily concealed in a pocket. Now, it doesn't mean they're always carried in the pocket, because I have seen pictures of them tucked into belts, tucked into coats, and you also have holsters for them. There were specific holsters made for these guns. Now, pocket pistols in general were used by just about everybody. A lot of your single-shot pistols are commonly referred to from the time period as muff guns, because ladies had what they called a muff. They keep their hands warm, and they could stick that gun in their muff, and it was completely concealed. But these were, the 49 pocket model especially, was popular out in the goldfields, California, Colorado, and such. And that's just because they're easy to put in your pocket. They don't get in the way. And if you're working, digging gold and stuff out, you got a lot of tools you're swinging around, belt pistol might get in the way. And that's where this comes in real handy, because you can put this in your pocket. It's not hanging on a belt on the side to get caught on anything. So as I mentioned before, the way that you load this type of gun without the loading lever is you have to disassemble it. So what you do is you drive out the wedge, and this gun's an Army San Marco. It did not come with a spring in it, so when you tap it out, even though it's got a screw to hold it in, it goes flying across the room. But you take the wedge out, you pull the barrel off, and then you have to bring it to half cock to get the cylinder to come off. And then you pour your powder in the cylinder, in the chamber on the cylinder, that is. Put your ball on top, and then you use the arbor to push that ball down. Now this arbor is a little bit rough. It's got a lot of burrs on it, and before I fire it, I'm going to have to clean it up because it doesn't want to go in the chamber. But that's how you would seat your ball, was to seat it through the chamber. And then you would cap it, or you could put it on the gun uncapped. Now on the Patterson styles, like the baby Pattersons, you would have to cap it beforehand because there was no accommodation to cap it on the gun. But on this particular little model, it does have a cut in the recoil shield, so you could place it on half cock and cap it on the gun, which is a much safer way of loading it because you're not fumbling around with a fully loaded cylinder and cap cylinder. Whereas if you drop that thing and it hits a rock, it will go off and send that ball right on out. All right, folks, that's going to take care of it today for our short little video on the pocket guns. If you liked what you've seen on the channel thus far, be sure to hit that subscribe button down there below. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook. You can find a link to that down in the description. Also, there's a link to our Patreon page. Check that out. Think about giving us something to help keep the channel going. We're trying to get more content over there as we speak. Be sure to stay tuned and keep your powder dry.